Well, hello friends, and welcome back to another event guide breakdown, this time for Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2025. While I will not be there, I thought I would at least give you guys an event guide breakdown. Missed doing one for Disneyland, but we'll get you one for Princess, and I will be back, of course, for Springtime Surprise in April. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road.
3, 2, 1, go!
So, like any Run Disney race, we have our welcome page. And welcome page, of course, same as always, we have Adam Ball welcoming us to the weekend and highlighting our sponsored charity for the weekend. That would be Starlight Children's Foundation. So yeah, let's dive right into weekend events. We will start with important information. This tab generally doesn't change much. We tend to see it the same, year in, year out kind of thing. Maybe some little things here and there. So I'm not going to go completely in depth. I have done, gone in depth in plenty of other videos. So I just want to kind of highlight some things and move on to the bigger items that more people are going to be interested in. Of course, you have your weather warning system. This is really only if weather's going to be an issue. In January we saw cold temperatures, but really didn't impact the flag warnings at all. Heat will obviously impact that. Potential thunderstorms and stuff will also impact that. So just keep that in mind. Flags do play a part when it comes to the weather. Overall, they do have a tab for the whole weekend start group times. We go A to G for Princess, just like we did for Marathon Weekend. Marathon Weekend and Princess tend to be basically exactly the same, other than the themes, of course. So just keep that in mind. For the 5K, there is no G. 5K is this quote-unquote smallest race of the weekend, but then 10K and half will utilize the G Corral, just like they did for Marathon Weekend. So just your start group times, will go more into that as we get into each individual race as well. Event waivers and check-in pass. So you, if you haven't already, definitely sign your event waivers and get those taken care of. If for some reason you are unable due to someone else registering you or international stuff like that, there's always some issues with waivers, but they will have printed versions on site. You can sign them there and then take them over to get your bib later, or after that. So don't panic if you are not unable to do it digitally. As for your Expo check-in pass, those will be available February 17th in your Run Disney account. So be on the lookout for those as well. Those will have your bib number, and that will kind of give you an idea of where you may be. You won't know officially until you pick up your bib, but based on a lot of the guessing games that we like to play in the Run Disney community, you should be able to figure out where you'll be within those corrals. Costume guidelines, no major changes here. Same as the last at least year, if not more, now that since they made the changes to costume guidelines. If you want to go more in depth into costume guidelines, take a look at that tab. So that is all there. Event reminders, just general information. Nothing too crazy here. Stuff for every weekend. Flag guidelines. This is for if you're going to carry a flag on course. Some people like to carry the American flag or a country they're representing and stuff like that. They do have to be within a certain requirements. So definitely be sure to check those out if you plan on carrying a flag. Now for race day information, again, very basic, simple information here. Gear check, food and beverage, lost and found, stuff like that. If you're gonna, need to utilize any of that, just basic race day information there. Race etiquette. Now this is for you, all the runners here. Basically, make sure you wear your bib on the front of your person. if you're walking, go to the left or go to the right, and just be courteous, be nice. Don't do anything stupid, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to, the big thing for if you're a run walker, you should raise your hand as you're moving to the right, and you slow down, those kind of things, so people are aware of their surroundings and stuff like that. Just be nice. Snack box nutrition facts. So this is kind of a general information about the nutrition for on the course and post race. For the 5K, there will be one water stop. That is pretty standard. We'll get into that when we get into course maps. But then you have the 10K will be 3 water stops. Again, very standard. Princess, this is where we'll have Powerade on course as well as water, and then a 1 food stop. That food stop should be sports beans, as it says here. That's been kind of the standard on-course nutrition for quite some time now from runDisney. So if you don't utilize sports beans in training, may not be beneficial to you to take them. Bring your own nutrition that way. The rule of thumb is don't try anything new on race day. So if you don't want to hurt yourself in a way that you have to take yourself off course, or because of your upset stomachs and stuff like that, those kind of things. Post race, they'll have water, Powerade, your snack box, and banana, all waiting for you. Snack box should have things like honey stinger. They have these not very good toast things now. Usually it's like M&Ms or Skittles, some sort of sweets in there as well. Of course, the chips and cheese that everybody loves, that will be in there. So those kind of things will be in your post-race snack box. Post-race information first. This is just saying where your results will be. You can go on the runDisney website and they'll be posted there. If you have some questions, stuff like that, be sure to email Track Shack at the email provided there. Coast to coast now. Since we now are into a new race year, you can earn those coast to coast medals now that Disneyland just happened, and then Halloween will happen later this year. So you need to make sure, if you are coast to coast, on your check-in pass, it should say eligible or not eligible for coast to coast. And then when you go to the expo and you get your bib, they will give you a wristband that will say coast to coast. And then after the race, when you go to get your medal, and then you'll have after the race medal, there will be a spot to pick up your coast to coast medal, and they'll cut that wristband off to make sure you retrieve that coast to coast medal. Your eligible races, of course, are the Disneyland Half Marathon, Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon, Walt Disney World Half Marathon or Marathon, Princess Half Marathon, the Springtime Surprise 10 miler, and the Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon. Obviously, if you do a challenge, those things are included in that. But you need to do one race at Disneyland and one of those races at Disney World in order to be eligible for the coast to coast medal. So, and if you are eligible and it says not eligible, be sure to check in at the expo. They're really pretty good about fixing those issues. I know, especially with this at Disneyland this past weekend, there were some issues with people saying not eligible because of the bib tracking issues with the chip times in Walt Disney World during Marathon Weekend. So they'll get that all sorted out. Don't panic. Just go talk to the runDisney information and runner relations people, and they should get that situated for you pretty quickly. Medical, as always in Walt Disney World, is Advent Health. They are on site free of charge, providing all sorts of on-course, pre-race, post-race medical stuff, all that. And then, of course, you have your minivan ad that there is always on these event guides. So yeah, that is the important information. Then that brings us in, of course, to the Health and Fitness Expo. This is always the big kickoff to the weekend, kind of a, it's an event in itself. At least for me and so many others, we hang out there, meet friends, of course, spend money, all those fun things. So the expo will start on Thursday, February 20th at 10 a.m. and run till 8 p.m. And then Friday, February 21st, 12 to 7. And then day 3, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. As always, there is a virtual queue for the race weekend specific merchandise. So if you plan on getting race weekend specific merchandise, you will need to join the queue on day 1 only. Now, if you come on day 2 or 3, you won't need to join this. But if you're coming on day 1, join the virtual queue. It's pretty simple. It's all done in your My Disney Experience app. You go to the virtual queues tab. Once it hits, I believe it's 8:30 now, and then you'll click. Once it's live, you click to join queue, and then once your callback time is called, you have 60 minutes to return for your queue and all that. So there's all sorts of instructions if you need a little bit more in depth on that. Here in the virtual queue information tab. Event waivers, we went over that already. Race bib and shirt pickup. This is just basically stating you have to pick up your own stuff. You can't have somebody else do it. And if you're running the 5K, you have to come on Thursday. If you're running, the 10K or challenge, you have to come Thursday or Friday. If you're running the half, you can come any of the days. Those kind of things. Just making sure people get their stuff and not trying to get it race morning, which they do not advise you try to do, because you may not be able to do it. So just make sure you're getting those bibs and shirts at the expo. Expo transportation. Pretty standard. Transportation will start 30 minutes before expo open time and run 30 minutes after expo closure time. Now, the big thing is if you are a Club Run Disney on that first day, you will not get expo transportation from your resorts. You'll have to find your own transportation, whether it be Uber, Lyft, minivan, or your own car. You need to have some sort of transportation to get you there, because those buses do not run to get you there in time for your Club Run Disney perks. Again, minivan ad, and then a map of the area. So A is where it is the Advent Health Arena. That is where your official race merchandise will be. They'll have, of course, also pre-purchase merchandise will be picked up there. They have photo ops in there, and then if you are Club Run Disney Platinum, this is where the headquarters for that is. The B is the Athletic Center. This will be, I don't know why they should label the State Farm Fieldhouse B, because you have to go to the field house first to get your bib before you can go get your shirts. So we'll start with C, the State Farm Fieldhouse. That's where you get your bib. That's where Runner Relations is, Athletes with Disabilities. There's more character photo ops in there. Waiver signing if you need it in there as well. And all that fun stuff. Then back to B, the Athletic Center is where your race shirts picked up, and then your main expo floor with all the different vendors is in there, as well as food and beverage. So yeah. Of course, these are just more specific maps of all those spots in there, as you can see. Exhibitors are not finalized on here just yet. Once they are, they'll have a list, and each booth will have a number, and you can find out which exhibitors are there on site. But shirt pickup will be towards the back of the building. All your exhibitors will be in the front to middle. At the very front, there will be a Run Disney showcase. This is basically where they show you the medals for the current race weekend and upcoming race weekends. And then, of course, the State Farm Fieldhouse is where you pick up your bibs. Each race distance has a spot. And then, of course, Runner Relations, Athletes with Disabilities, and if you have any Run Disney account issues. So that is the Health and Fitness Expo. That takes us into the 5K. So, 5K this year is Mulan themed. Start groups will open up at 3:45. Start groups will start to close individually by A through E. There is no F, or I take that back. There's no G for the 5K. There will be A through F for the 5K. Each corral has a projected starting time as well, and then within each start group there are mini waves. I would fully expect that D and E will have be sectioned off like they have been doing since Wine and Dine now. They did it for Wine and Dine, and they did it for Marathon Weekend. So within D and E, because those will be the largest corrals of the races, you will have sectioned off areas. And I should say, take that back. I don't believe they did it for the 5K, but greater distances they did. But just keep that in mind if you are running those greater distances. They will have sections within the corrals that will close. Even if the corral hasn't closed, those sections will close. Just kind of better space the people out within those corrals. Spectator viewing points now. The 5K is really, you can only spectate at the start and finish. It's pretty standard because the park isn't open and you do just run into Epcot, so there's really no other way to spectate for the 5K. So transportation will start at 3 a.m. for the 5K, run till 5 a.m. for people going to the start line. Post-race, the buses will start running at 6:30 and run till 8:30. They won't run any earlier, especially on the 5K day, because you can't. The buses where they line up, the course goes right by them, so they can't move until the course is clear. And then again, so there's for the 5K and 10K bus only. And then for the half marathon, they do utilize the monorail. So if you are staying in a monorail resort, you will have to take the monorail on that day. They do that just on half marathon day, and then a full marathon day for marathon weekend as well. But just be mindful of that. And moving on to race etiquette, event reminders, snack box, all the same as the previous pages. So we'll go skip that. I do want to go into Epcot lots. So if you're parking, obviously this is a map for that. Regular Epcot parking is open and free for runners and spectators in the morning. Resort bus drop-off is utilized. So if you are staying at a Disney resort and you're taking the bus, they will drop you off where resort buses normally drop off for Epcot. And then you will have to go through the Epcot main entrance through security and then walk over to the reunion area until start groups open, and then you can go into the start group area. So as we get in now a little closer up view of that staging area. In the reunion lot, there will be a food and beverage area. Of course, there's the entertainment stage, and then info tent, baby care, Advent Health is there, gear bag, all that stuff right there in that reunion lot. And that reunion lot will also be where your post-race transportation is. There will be a bib check spot where before you, as you can see here, before you go into the start group area, only runners are allowed in that area. There is a water table there to get some water before getting into your group. This back area here is all open, porta potties and water, and then this front area is where the groups are. So yeah. And then, of course, for the course itself, as you can see here, we start in the Epcot parking lot. We go around that Epcot parking lot, and then back into Epcot, past Test Track, through between Connections and Creations. And then we will go into World Showcase, do a full lap around World Showcase. Your one water stop will be in America. And then keep continuing around World Showcase, past the Land Pavilion, through World Celebration, around Spaceship Earth, and then out to the finish. This course is very standard for Run Disney 5Ks at Walt Disney World. So really nothing new, different here. Do want to point out those real bathrooms for you. There is a real bathroom just to the left before you go between Connections and Creations here. So that will be right over here. Then as you're going into World Showcase, there will be a real bathroom at the Odyssey over here. There will be a real bathroom in Norway. There will be a real bathroom in Germany over here. There will be real bathrooms in America. There will be real bathrooms in Morocco. There will be real bathrooms in the UK. France, they're too far in the back for you to really utilize those. There are real bathrooms there, but I don't think they'll. It's truly too not very advantageous of someone to go to those. So skip those and go to the UK bathrooms, and then you'll pass bathrooms over as you're exiting World Showcase, going back into World Celebration, World Nature, all those areas over here, and then back into World Celebration. There'll be bathrooms on the left of Spaceship Earth over here. That's really your, and then on the when you come back around, there'll be bathrooms on this side as well. And that's your last real bathroom before going to the finish. So just keep that in mind in terms of that. But again, course standard, nothing crazy here. And that is your 5K. That takes us into the 10K. Jasmine themed here. Start group times, we go A to G now. All groups open at 3:45. Projected start times, each corral will have individual ways within those. All the standard Run Disney things that we've become accustomed to over the last, I don't know how many years at this point. Spectator viewing now, they do only say start and finish line for official spectating spots. We'll go into that in a little bit in the course. But yeah. Then transportation, again, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. and then 6:30 to 9 post-race. Bus only for this one, no monorail. Race etiquette, event reminders, all the same. Now the 10K is timed, so you will have results. The tracking is not open yet, so that's not on there, but you will be able to track runners running the 10K and half marathon. 5K is untimed, so they don't have runner tracking for that. Snack box, all the same. Road closure information if you are driving or have spectators coming to see you. Be sure to check out that, because the road closures are specific times, and you do need to, of course, be mindful of those. Start and staging, all the same. 10K course. Now, again, if you are familiar with Run Disney and run those marathon weekend courses, it's all the same. It's all the same. Starting in that Epcot parking lot again, going out now to the left and down the roadway through the Epcot Toll Plaza, which is right there, doing a hairpin turn just after mile 1. Usually there's a character or two right in this stretch, and then a BL character usually up as you're going up the incline. Again, too, you have a water stop, then another hairpin turn as you head back into Epcot, past the bus loop. Now, as for spectating spots, this is a spectating spot. A lot of people will spectate along this parking lot corridor here and into the bus stop area. So if that is if you have spectators coming, that is an option. Now, Run Disney doesn't list that as an official spectating spot, but they don't stop people from spectating there either. So that is an option. You'll go backstage and enter between the Land and Imagination pavilions. You'll go past the Living Seas and then into World Celebration. Now, you will have a bathroom over by Figment here. And then as you go into World Showcase, you'll have that real bathroom again over here. You'll have a real bathroom in the UK before as you're exiting the park. And there's a water stop backstage there as well. Then you go past behind the Skyliner station and into the Epcot Resort area. Now, this is another spectating spot. Now, Run Disney does not say this is an official spectating spot, mostly because of the race time. And you are starting at 5 a.m., and these resorts are, holding guests that are not running. So, if you are spectating here, they do ask you to be quiet. They don't stop you from standing outside and watching, but they don't, want you screaming and shouting at 5 o'clock in the morning either. So keep that in mind. But you go all the way around the Epcot resorts, around Crescent Lake, and then back into Epcot through International Gateway, past France, real bathrooms again in Morocco, and you'll have a water stop in America, again, real bathrooms there. Then you'll have real bathrooms in Germany again. As you continue your way around World Showcase, real bathrooms in Norway, and then real bathrooms at the Odyssey as you head out of World Showcase and back into World Celebration. You'll pass real bathrooms behind the Creations and Connections shops there, and then back into World celebration around Spaceship Earth, real bathrooms on both sides of that, and then out to the finish, and that is the 10K. All standard stuff. If you're familiar with Run Disney 10Ks, nothing crazy different here. All the basics that we have come to know and love with Run Disney 10Ks. Moving along into the Princess Half Marathon, Aurora themed. Now, start groups will open at a little earlier for this one, 3:15 a.m. And you have A through G again. Everybody should be off and started by 6:08, so just over an hour, which is pretty standard for Run Disney half marathons. Try to get everybody off in an hour or so. And spectating now. Spectating is a little bit different here because it's a bigger race, so you have more options. Your spectating spots, of course, are the start line. Then they have the Grand Floridian as a spectating spot. Main Street USA and the Magic Kingdom, which will open to guests early, and you do not need a park admission ticket to do that if you're going before 7:30 a.m. And then you can spectate at the Contemporary, spectating at the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then, of course, the finish line. So those are the official spectating spots there. We'll get into some maybe non-official spectating spots after. Transportation does start a little bit earlier for the half marathon. More people means they got to get more, people moved. So they start at 2:30, will run till 4:30. Post race 6:30 to 10:30. Monorail will be utilized for Magic Kingdom Resort guests. So if you are staying at a Magic Kingdom Resort, be sure to utilize the monorail, as there will not be a bus for that race. Race etiquette, event reminders, race tracking, snack box, all the same. Nothing different there. Road closure map, again, if you are spectating or driving to the race, be mindful of those road closures, because those roads will close at those times listed. Now for the course itself, if you ran or paid attention to the Walt Disney World Half Marathon this past January, this is exactly the same as that course, which is not, again, unexpected. The half for January and the Princess Half are 99.9% of the time exactly the same. So, as we dive in, we start again in that Epcot parking lot. We go off onto the roadway and head our way towards Magic Kingdom. Along this way, they will have characters out. So while it is a lot of road, it's not my favorite half course, but it is what it is. They will have plenty of characters out in entertainment. They've really been doing a great job stepping up the entertainment game these past year or so. So you will go to the left of the Magic Kingdom Toll Plaza, which will be right here, past the Car Care Center, and over. If you have run this in the past, just like it was in January too, you will be basically running the opposite way of how we're used to running this course. So you'll go, instead of going to the Ticket and Transportation Center first, you'll go to the other route, and you'll go down Cone Alley past the Polynesian and Grand Floridian. If you're unfamiliar with the term Cone Alley, that is this stretch here from the Poly to the Grand. It's a 2-lane road. One lane is open to traffic, and one lane is open to runners. And in the middle is literally a cone. There's cones lined the entire way, obviously for runner safety. But that's why it's called Cone Alley, because it's a one-lane road for runners that's just filled with cones. And now I will say, especially for half day, this area will be dark, and it can get narrow and congested, especially if you're towards the back of the pack. It was a problematic area during the January races, so just keep it in mind. Pack some patience here. And then as you go into the Grand Floridian, you go just around the back of the Grand Floridian, taking the walkway bridges and the pathway to the Magic Kingdom. Now, I don't know if they'll do it again, but they did do it in January. The electrical water pageant was out stationed right along the pathway, so it was a great touch that they did. So hopefully they do it again, and I hope they, if they continue this course in the future, that I hope they continue to do things like that, because again, entertainment has really been stepping up their game when it comes to that. So then you'll enter via the ticket area, or the main entrance of Magic Kingdom here, and go down Main Street USA, which is always the big highlight of the half marathon for Princess, and in January you're running in the Magic Kingdom right down Main Street. You really can't do that anywhere else. The spectating, there will be plenty of spectators all along the one side of the street, and runners get the other. And then if you're used to past years, instead of going into Tomorrowland as you go down Main Street, you're going to take a left instead and go into Adventureland. So you'll go around Adventureland, through into Liberty Square, around back into Fantasyland, through the castle, and you'll be taking then a left through the castle into Tomorrowland, and then out the back of Magic Kingdom backstage. And then you'll go you won't go into the bus area like we have some past years, but you'll go backstage around and past the Contemporary then, and then to the TTC. Now, if you are looking for real bathrooms, I do want to note that Magic Kingdom and the TTC will really be your only points of real bathrooms, basically coming from Epcot and going back to Epcot. So if you want a real bathroom, those are your spots to use them. You should have real bathrooms in Adventureland here over by the Jungle Cruise area. As you come back around, there will be real bathrooms by the Tangled area in Fantasyland, through the castle, and then out the back. And then you'll have real bathrooms at the TTC. Those might be a little more difficult to utilize, but they were open in January, so I would expect them to be open again. Then you run through the Magic Kingdom parking lot, and then back towards Epcot. You'll do an on-ramp as you head back towards Epcot, and then into, now in again, unofficial spectating spot would be that bus area before you enter Epcot. Lots of people lined up, especially on half day. As you head back into Epcot, your last water stop will be backstage there, and then you'll head past the Living Seas, through World Celebration, out behind Mission Space, behind Guardians, and out to the finish. In Epcot, you will have really the main real bathrooms you'll have to utilize are those ones but just after between Connections and Creations there. So there is that. Not great options, but hopefully that isn't something you need anyways. But then out to the finish, seeing the choir, getting those medals, having all the fun, celebrating in the reunion lot post race. That's always one of my favorite parts, is celebrating post race. All those accomplishments with friends. The last thing about Princess now, they will of course have yoga. Now, this past year they flipped it for the first time, and they are doing it after the races instead of before the races. So Monday, February 24th, there will be sunrise yoga. Now, the big change for the Princess weekend this year, though, is it's at Hollywood Studios rather than the Magic Kingdom. In the past, Princess has always had yoga at the Magic Kingdom, and this year, not so much. So it's at Hollywood Studios. You'll get a yoga mat, bottled water. Transportation is provided, but it's very specific times, so I'll get into that in a second. So check-in will begin at 4:15 at Hollywood Studios. Parking lot will open at 4. Security opens up at 4, and they ask you to please arrive prior to 4:45 for check-in, so they can get everybody in and started right away at 5 a.m. Now, transportation looks like it's not up yet, but I do know when they do provide it, it's very specific times. So, like say Disney All Stars, they'll pick up specifically at 3:20. And there's only one, because the yoga is such a small event, they only send one bus for basically every resort. So if I'm staying at the Poly, it may be 3:25. Then that once that bus leaves, you're out of luck. So make sure if you're doing yoga and you're taking the bus, make sure you're on that bus by that time. Otherwise, you'll have to find your own transportation, and you could be out of luck. Usually that is up, but they've been releasing the guides a little bit earlier than normal, so they don't have all those details in here just yet. And that is that. So you'll have some sponsored stuff in here. Corksicle, that's the presenting sponsor of the weekend. Starlight Children's Foundation, that is the sponsored charity. Now, if you go to Disney Springs, you wear your medal, show your bib, there's plenty of discounts to be had. Those are all listed here. For example, the Boathouse, a 10% off discount when dining there. Homecoming, even shopping, like Basin, 15% off purchase. Coca-Cola store, $5 off a purchase of 50 or more. All that kind of stuff. So if you're going to Disney Springs, be sure to have those medals, showcase those, and you may get some savings. Outside of that, this is just all sponsorship stuff. All these companies sponsor the weekends, and they will sometimes have some discounts in here, like Mission has a 25% off in here. Enterprise sometimes does a discount in there as well for renting a car. All those things. So definitely, if you're interested, check these out. I'm not going to go into these individually or anything, but that is the expo. The digital expo tab is just what I showed you. It's on both pages, so just showcasing all that fun stuff. But that is the Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2025 digital event guide, breakdown, courses, all pretty standard stuff. I know I went kind of fast, but a lot of this isn't new. If you want to see something a little bit more maybe in depth, we of course have January, which all those courses are the same, so you can look at that or look at past years, all those things. But that is it for Princess Half Marathon Weekend. I hope you have the best time. I will not be there, but I hope you have the best time. And I'll see you at springtime in April for all the fun.